Vladimir Putin, 17 years and the most powerful man in the world.
In 1999, when Vladimir Putin first entered politics, European leaders asked, who is he? A low-profile figure, an obscure KGB agent. But within a few years, that name shook the world. Today, Vladimir Putin is a household name. The man who annexed Crimea, challenged NATO, and defied the core values of the West. From a rebellious boy on the streets of Leningrad to a Cold War spy and a leader ruling Russia with an iron fist, Putin has not only changed Russia's destiny, but also reshaped the global order. But what lies behind the bold moves and the image of a strongman leader? Is he a brilliant strategist or a dangerous dictator? This journey from street bully to the president confronting the world will reveal truths you've never known. Welcome to Faces of History. Here we uncover fascinating stories from the past and dive into the lives of legendary figures who shaped the course of world history. If you're passionate about history and the incredible journeys of those who made it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Let's embark on this inspiring journey through time together. Biography and political career of Vladimir Putin. 1. Early life and youth. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born on October 7, 1952 in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, USSR. He grew up in a working-class family living in a cramped communal apartment. Humble beginnings. His father, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin, was a factory worker and a Soviet military veteran. His mother, Maria Ivanovna Shelomova, was also a factory worker. Rebellious youth. Putin described himself as a hyperactive child, known for fighting and participating in neighborhood brawls, earning the nickname schoolyard bully. Passion for martial arts. To defend himself and build discipline, Putin took up judo and sambo, becoming highly skilled in both. To this day, martial arts remain a passion of his. 2. Education and career in the KGB. Education. Putin graduated from the Faculty of Law at Leningrad State University in 1975, specializing in international law and joining the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. It was here he met Anatoly Sobchak, who later became the mayor of Leningrad and a key figure in Putin's political career. Joining the KGB. After graduation, Putin joined the KGB, the USSR's premier intelligence agency, serving from 1975 to 1991 in espionage and security roles. He was stationed in Dresden, East Germany, focusing on counterintelligence and political espionage. In 1989, as the Berlin Wall fell, Putin witnessed the collapse of East Germany, a moment that profoundly shaped his political views on the West. Leaving the KGB, in 1991, following the dissolution of the USSR, Putin left the KGB with the rank of lieutenant colonel and returned to Leningrad to embark on a political career. 3. Entry into politics, from advisor to prime minister. Putin became an advisor to Anatoly Sobchak, mayor of Leningrad. Tasked with managing foreign affairs, he quickly showcased his negotiation and administrative skills. This period allowed him to build crucial connections in politics and business. In 1996, Putin relocated to Moscow to work in the federal government, holding various positions, including deputy chief of staff to the president. In 1998, Putin was appointed director of the Federal Security Service, FSB, the successor to the KGB, a major step in his political ascent. In 1999, President Boris Yeltsin appointed Putin as prime minister. Shortly after, Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned, naming Putin acting president on December 31, 1999.
Russia at the present time is at a crossroad. The communists have been defeated, but the ideas of freedom now are on trial.
4. Presidency and consolidation of power. A. First terms as president, 2000-2008. Putin was officially elected president of Russia in March 2000. His early focus was on rebuilding Russia's economy, which was in deep recession following the USSR's collapse. Economic achievements. Rising oil prices fueled rapid economic recovery during this period. Putin strengthened state control over strategic industries, particularly oil and gas. He tightened control over the media, suppressed political opposition, and centralized power in the federal government. Putin restored state authority, cracked down on separatist movements in Chechnya, and brought stability to the region. B. Prime Minister, 2008-2012. Due to term limits, Putin stepped down as president in 2008, appointing Dmitry Medvedev as his successor while serving as prime minister. Many believe Putin remained the de facto leader during this period. C. Return to the presidency, 2012-present. Putin was re-elected president in 2012 and has remained in power since. In 2020, he pushed through constitutional reforms, allowing him to remain president until 2036. D. Foreign policy and conflicts. Annexation of Crimea, 2014. One of Putin's most consequential decisions, this move heightened tensions with the West and led to severe economic sanctions. Military intervention in Syria. Russia became a key player in the Syrian conflict, cementing its influence in the Middle East. War in Ukraine, 2022. Putin's decision to invade Ukraine is his most controversial and isolating move, leaving Russia more globally ostracized than ever. Major achievements and controversies in Vladimir Putin's career. Vladimir Putin is one of the most polarizing figures on the global stage. While some praise him for restoring stability and asserting Russia's power, others criticize his authoritarian policies and actions that have destabilized international relations. Below is an overview of the key achievements and controversies in his political career. 1. Notable achievements. A. Revitalizing Russia's economy. During his first term, 2000-2008, when Putin became president in 2000, Russia was grappling with a severe economic crisis following the collapse of the Soviet Union. Under his leadership, the Russian economy made significant strides. Strong economic growth. Russia's GDP grew steadily, driven by surging oil and gas prices, key sectors that dominate the country's export revenue. Financial stability. Putin implemented tax reforms, including reducing the personal income tax rate to 13% to encourage tax compliance. He also prioritized repaying Russia's large foreign debts, bolstering the nation's financial standing. B. Consolidating state power. Putin focused on strengthening the central government's authority, curbing the influence of regional leaders and oligarchs who had dominated Russia's political and economic landscape in the 1990s. Reining in the oligarchs. Wealthy businessmen like Mikhail Khodorkovsky, head of Yukos Oil, were arrested or forced into exile, allowing Putin to regain control over strategic industries. Suppressing separatism. He took decisive measures to quell separatist movements in Chechnya, bringing the region back under Moscow's control. C. Restoring Russia's global standing. Putin worked to re-establish Russia as a global superpower. From military intervention in Syria to countering NATO's influence, he positioned Russia as a key player in international affairs. Multilateral cooperation. Under his leadership, Russia joined alliances such as BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, to challenge the Western-led global order. D. Promoting Russian national pride. Putin emphasized Russia's greatness, fostering national pride through large-scale events like the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics. These efforts showcased Russia as a modern and powerful nation. 2. Major controversies. A. Media control and oppression of opposition. During Putin's tenure, most major Russian media outlets were nationalized or brought under the control of pro-government entities. Independent journalists faced harassment and, in some cases, violent attacks. The murder of journalist Anna Politkovskaya in 2006 sent shockwaves internationally. Prominent opposition figures such as Alexei Navalny have been frequently arrested or hindered in their activities. Navalny narrowly survived a poisoning attempt in 2020, which international observers linked to the Russian government. B. Annexation of Crimea, 2014. Bold action. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine, following a controversial referendum condemned by the West as illegal. Putin argued that the move protected ethnic Russians in Crimea. Consequences. This action triggered severe economic sanctions from the US and EU, damaging Russia's economy and escalating tensions with the West. NATO ramped up its military presence in Eastern Europe in response. C. Military intervention in Syria, 2015. Strategic goals. Putin deployed Russian forces to support Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, shifting the balance in the Syrian civil war. His objectives included solidifying Russia's influence in the Middle East and maintaining military bases in Tartus and Latakia. Controversy: human rights groups accuse Russia of indiscriminate airstrikes, resulting in significant civilian casualties. D. Interference in the 2016 U.S. election. Allegations: U.S. intelligence agencies concluded that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election to favor Donald Trump, using cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns. Denial: Putin denied the accusations, but the incident strained U.S.-Russia relations and tarnished Russia's global image. E. Ukraine War, 2022. In February 2022, Putin launched a full-scale military invasion of Ukraine, framing it as a special military operation to denazify the country. The invasion provoked widespread international condemnation and led to the harshest economic sanctions in history against Russia. Relations with the West were severed, and the conflict caused a severe humanitarian crisis. Vision and long-term strategies of Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is renowned not only for his absolute authority in Russia, but also for his long-term strategic vision. His actions, both domestically and internationally, consistently aim to restore Russia's status as a global superpower while maintaining internal stability. Below is a detailed analysis of Putin's vision and long-term strategies. 1. Vision: restoring Russia's greatness. Putin once described the collapse of the Soviet Union as the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century. This sentiment reflects his regret over Russia's lost superpower status and serves as the guiding principle behind his policies. A. Returning Russia to superpower status. Challenging Western dominance. Putin rejects the unipolar world order led by the U.S. and the West. He seeks to establish a multipolar system where Russia plays a central role in shaping global decisions. Restoring influence in post-Soviet space. Under Putin, Russia has worked to consolidate its influence in former Soviet states, such as Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine, considering these nations as its strategic backyard. B. Building military and technological strength. Modernizing the military. Significant investments have been made in upgrading Russia's weapon systems, including hypersonic missiles and strategic nuclear arms, ensuring Russia remains capable of countering any military threats. Investing in technology. Russia has prioritized advancements in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and space exploration to compete with powers like the U.S. and China. 2. Long-term domestic strategy, consolidating power and ensuring stability. A. Tight political control, strengthening centralized power. Putin has restructured Russia's political system to concentrate power in his hands. Constitutional amendments passed in 2020 allow him to remain president until 2036, ensuring continuity in his long-term plans. Putin has systematically suppressed opposition figures like Alexei Navalny, arresting critics and marginalizing dissent to maintain political stability. B. Restoring national pride, leveraging history to unite the nation. Putin often emphasizes Russia's historical victories, such as the Soviet Union's role in World War II, to foster patriotism and rally support for his government. High-profile events like the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics not only serve as international showcases, but also boost national pride. C. Selective economic reforms, focusing on strategic resources. Russia relies heavily on oil and gas exports to drive its economy, using energy resources as a political tool to exert influence over dependent nations. Infrastructure investments. Major projects, such as the Nord Stream gas pipelines, aim to strengthen Russia's economic leverage and international presence. 3. Long-term foreign strategy, expanding global influence. A. Expanding influence in post-Soviet territories. Crimea annexation, 2014. This bold move aimed to solidify Russia's control in the region. Intervention in Ukraine. Putin's primary goal has been to prevent Ukraine from joining NATO and to keep it within Russia's sphere of influence. B. Relations with China. Strategic alliance. Putin has cultivated close ties with China, particularly in energy and trade, to counter Western pressure. Economic cooperation. Joint projects such as the New Silk Road, and significant energy agreements underline the deepening partnership between the two nations. C. Challenging NATO in the West. Direct confrontation. Putin has consistently criticized NATO's eastward expansion, viewing it as a direct threat to Russia's security. Information warfare. Russia employs propaganda and cyber operations to influence internal politics in Western nations. D. Intervening in the Middle East. Role in Syria. By supporting Bashar al-Assad's regime during the Syrian civil war, Putin has positioned Russia as a major player in the region. Energy strategy. Russia strengthens its influence among oil-producing nations, affecting global energy markets. 4. Long-term calculations for sustaining power. A. Constitutional amendments 2020. Putin's reforms remove presidential term limits, allowing him to stay in power until 2036. This ensures the continuity of his long-term strategies without interruptions. B. Controlling the elite. Putin maintains loyalty among the political and business elite, eliminating dissenters and ensuring their cooperation in consolidating his rule. Putin's vision and strategies center on re-establishing Russia as a global superpower and maintaining his personal grip on power. While his policies have brought stability and expanded Russia's influence, they have also sparked significant controversies. Whether Putin achieves his ultimate goals remains to be seen, but his impact on modern political history is undeniable. Relations between Vladimir Putin, Ukraine, the US, and the EU. Russia's relations with Ukraine, the US, and the EU under Vladimir Putin have become some of the most contentious international issues of the 21st century. Putin's foreign policy revolves around challenging the West and asserting Russia's influence, particularly in Ukraine. Below is a detailed analysis of these relationships. 1. Relations with Ukraine. The epicenter of tensions. A. Ukraine and Putin's vision. Putin considers Ukraine an integral part of Russia's history and culture, famously stating that Russians and Ukrainians are one people. He views Ukraine drifting toward the West as unacceptable. B. Key events in Russia-Ukraine relations. The Orange Revolution, 2004. The pro-Western Viktor Yushchenko's victory in Ukraine's presidential election was a setback for Putin, who backed the pro-Russian candidate Viktor Yanukovych. C. Crimea crisis, 2014. After Ukraine's pro-Russian government was overthrown during the Euromaidan protests, Putin annexed Crimea, claiming it was to protect ethnic Russians and counter fascist threats in Ukraine. War in Donbass. Russia has been accused of supporting separatists in eastern Ukraine, fueling a conflict that has claimed thousands of lives. Invasion of Ukraine, 2022. On February 24, 2022, Putin launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, calling it a special military operation to denazify and demilitarize the country. Consequences: widespread international condemnation and severe economic sanctions against Russia. One of Europe's worst humanitarian crises since World War II. See NATO and Ukraine. Putin perceives Ukraine's potential NATO membership as a direct threat, declaring it a red line for Russia's security. 2. Relations with the US. Rivalry and interference. A. Traditional rivals in the post-Cold War era. Putin sees the US as Russia's primary adversary and blames American interventionism for global instability. B. Key events in Russia-US relations. Criticism of US hegemony. In a 2007 speech at the Munich Security Conference, Putin openly criticized the US for imposing a unipolar world order, signaling a shift toward confrontation. Election interference 2016. US intelligence agencies accuse Russia of meddling in the 2016 presidential election by hacking and spreading disinformation to favor Donald Trump. Relations under Donald Trump. Despite Trump's often favorable comments about Putin, the US imposed new sanctions on Russia, particularly after the 2018 poisoning of ex-spy Sergei Skripal. Tensions escalated further under Biden, with additional sanctions imposed after the 2022 invasion of Ukraine and significant military aid provided to Ukraine. C. Arms race and cybersecurity. The US and Russia remain locked in competition over advanced weaponry and cybersecurity, with Russia accused of launching cyber attacks on critical American infrastructure. 3. Relations with the EU, economic ties and growing conflicts. A. Economic dependencies. The EU is Russia's largest trading partner, with energy exports, primarily oil and gas, forming the backbone of their relationship. Russia supplies over 40% of Europe's gas, giving Putin significant leverage. B. Major conflicts. Ukraine crisis, 2014. The annexation of Crimea and support for separatists in eastern Ukraine led the EU to impose sanctions on Russia, targeting its financial, energy, and defense sectors. Nord Stream 2. Pipeline. The project sparked divisions within the EU, as some nations feared over-reliance on Russian energy. Political interference. Russia has been accused of meddling in EU countries' domestic politics, including supporting far-right parties and engaging in propaganda campaigns. See Ukraine war and its impact on EU-Russia relations. The EU responded to the Ukraine invasion with harsher sanctions, reducing energy imports from Russia and increasing aid to Ukraine. In retaliation, Russia cut gas supplies to Europe, triggering an energy crisis. Putin's relationships with Ukraine, the US, and the EU reflect his strategic goal of protecting Russia's interests and reclaiming its superpower status. While his policies have reshaped global dynamics, they have also left Russia more isolated than ever. Whether Putin can sustain his position amid growing challenges remains an open question. Vladimir Putin, a controversial and powerful leader. From bold moves like annexing Crimea and challenging the West to consolidating power domestically, Vladimir Putin has reshaped Russia in his own way. However, his actions have also brought significant consequences. Economic sanctions, growing international isolation, and heightened tensions with global powers. The question remains, will these strategies lead to a stronger Russia, or will they push the nation into deeper challenges in the future? What do you think about Vladimir Putin? Is he a brilliant strategist or an authoritarian leader? Are his policies truly in Russia's best interest, or are they primarily aimed at maintaining his own power? Share your thoughts in the comments section. I'd love to hear your perspectives. What stands out to you the most in Putin's leadership journey? How do you think his policies will shape the future of Russia and the world? If you enjoy videos that dive into politics, history, and fascinating stories like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This way, you'll never miss any of the exciting content we have lined up for you. Thank you for watching until the end of this video. Remember, every comment, like, and share is a huge motivation for me to keep creating high-quality content for you. See you in the next video, and have an amazing day.